Hello, this is Michael Bean, and this is your free lesson for myfreeactingclass.com for Tuesday, December the 8th. I am an acting teacher. I've been teaching for 20 years. I've been teaching film and TV acting for the last 18. I run a kids and teen school called Biz Studio, and then I teach adult classes under my own name. You can find links to all of that, as well as links for all of these past videos at myfreeactingclass.com. You can also email me there, info@myfreeactingclass.com. I said this yesterday, but I'm going to say it basically every day this week, that I'm going to be taking a break after 8 months of teaching, at least 3 and sometimes 5 days a week of free acting classes. I will be taking a break this Thursday. All right, so we're going to teach up to this Thursday, and then taking about a month off and starting again on Monday, January the 11th. So if you're like, oh, here's this lesson from the archive that I really loved, that I would love to see more of. If you have ideas for me, I would love to hear them. Please email them to me, info@myfreeactingclass.com, because I'm going to have a whole month to think about the things that I want to offer and take some of the things that I have learned in the process of teaching all of you in the last 8 months and put them into the latest edition of my book. Which incidentally is also available as a free download. You can just follow the links, on the myfreeactingclass.com page, and you'll find it. I wrote a book. That's what got me started teaching. I wrote a book called Confidence on Camera, and I just sent it to all the local talent agents. And I was like, well, hey, I know you don't know me, but here's my book. And a couple of talent agents in Vancouver were like, we like this guy. And that's what got me through the first maybe 3 years of my school. And I since edited it down to like a 42-page stripped down version that I've just been giving away as a PDF. So you can find that on the website. Today, I want to talk about script analysis, story analysis, understanding story, go over the 10 questions to understand story, which is a tool that I've been using in class pretty regularly. Look at a quick script from Saw 7. So I need 2 brave volunteers to be, let me see what my characters' names are here, to be Sydney and Alex. It's no pressure, to feel the feelings, but who wants to read Sydney and Alex for me?
I'll do Sydney.
Oh yeah, good. I would love that. And then can I have a volunteer to read Alex for me? You're hanging by a trapeze over a bunch of spinning saw blades, I think. Ooh. Erica, you want to read Alex just for fun? Yeah, sure.
Me? Okay. Sure. Why not?
That'll be super fun for your kids.
Yes. The ones who have made me do this, then yes. Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
I'm doing it for the children.
Thank you for being brave on their behalf. So let's look at the script first, and then we'll take a look at the story questions and the style. Here we go. I'll read the stage direction. Interior Sydney and Alex trap night. Now, Saw is a franchise. Basically, it's this horror franchise where they whoever is the evil villain sets up these traps where somebody sort of has to choose, do I die or does my friend die? Do I do the thing or do I die in a horrible way? Sydney and Alex hang upside down from their 2 trapeze swings. They've been here for hours and are on the brink of exhaustion.
You have to hang on, Alex.
I'm slipping. I can't do it.
You can. You have to be strong.
No. I got us into this. You don't deserve to be here.
Don't stop saying that. You know I deserve this as much as you do. We'll get through this. You and me. You need me.
You have to save yourself.
Alex begins to slip off his trapeze. Sydney tries to reach for him.
No, don't let go.
I'm sorry.
No, please hang on just a bit more. You have to hang on. I love you.
Alex looks to Sydney, then closes his eyes and drops to the horrible trap below.
No!
Zilch! Sydney is showered with Alex's blood.
Yuck.
Yeah, really yucky. Sorry, children watching. There are no images of blood are going to be shared. And then interestingly, casting wrote directly on the script. Script is a guideline. Please note, although they are exhausted, the scene needs to be played with energy, fear. It is life or death, tears, swearing, screaming, whatever you need to do to play an emotionally charged horror scene is welcome. The One of my other projects is I also run a 3,000 square foot video production and casting studio in downtown Vancouver. And so we've had a couple of these horror movies cast out of there. And it's really interesting to be wandering down the hallway, while all day people are in there going like, ah, ah, ah! And they're like screaming their lungs out. But they're, because for something like this, the emotional charge is almost the most important thing to casting. There's a lot more permission than you would normally have to ad lib, to improvise dialogue, to sort of add sound, to basically add anything that would get you there. And I think this is consistent even with I have some short horror scripts for little kids too, where it's like mom gets grabbed out of the tent and dragged off into the darkness, and the kid's one line is like, "Mom, no!" And so it's that same basic idea of anything that helps the actor get there is allowed in the audition room. And here, I just love that the casting wrote that out in detail. So here are the 10 story questions that I often use to look at story. And it is, top level. I just love coming back to this over and over again because it is so part of the way that I approach acting. I just really don't believe in saying, here is the one way that is the best to do it for all people at all times. I really think there's no right or wrong in acting. There's just more or less effective. And so those of you who've been here for a while know that one of my favorite things is to give a complex answer to a simple question. So I was like, should it be this way? And I'm like, context, 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 context. So style, the writer's story, my story, arc or the change, the descriptive words for me, descriptive words for the other, script relationship, personalization, objective, and objective phrase. We're going to go through those super quickly. For style, first thing, easiest thing to do is to look directly at IMDb and YouTube. So that's where we'll go first. So this is Saw, the final chapter. You can see the screaming person chained to a wall and the super creepy poster. If you were auditioning for this, you obviously wouldn't have Saw 7, but you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you had a callback, or if you're working on the show, then maybe it would make sense to rent a couple of them and watch them. But the beauty of YouTube is that if you were auditioning, you could just look up Saw 6 and watch part of the trailer. I'm going to stop it before it gets bloody. Because the dead will have no claim over your soul. No, I'm not gonna die! I'm not gonna die! But you may be mistaken. But I am still among you. When faced with death, I'll shoot you first. Right, screaming, crying, intensity. If you didn't get it from the script, there it is. This is a lot of the times, especially if you're going out for something that's in a major network. Yesterday we were looking at a script from an ABC show. You're going to get hybrid genres because it's more sophisticated material. You're going to get drama, crime, mystery, I think is what we were looking at yesterday. This is a straight horror movie. And so understanding the style, you must know that you're playing within a horror style, because if you don't know that, you don't know how much permission you have. In a straight horror movie, if you are the victim, you have so much permission here. The things that would be wildly melodramatic in another style of show, in this become totally acceptable. And so understanding style, I think, is where I like to start. And it's so easy to just go on IMDb, to go on YouTube, do a little bit of research and look that up. So then let's go back to those 10 story questions. And again, this is just a simplified version of how to understand story that I've put together for my classes and then am bringing in here because I feel like it makes it nice and simple. Now, this is where please feel free to throw things into the chat window because that'll make it go faster, and also hearing a range of ideas makes it better. And with a group that's this small, especially if you have something concise to offer, you probably can just unmute yourself and shout it out too. So going back to the story questions, the style is horror. The writer's story, is what, like two people in a horrible trap that will kill them. My story, and so this is where we have to get a little bit creative. And so this is, what is my version of this story? What's interesting to me? How do I tell the story in a way that suits myself? So we've got Alex saying, this is my fault. We got in that we're here. Sydney saying, no, it's my fault just as well. So let's, because we have more the ladies, here in the group today, let's look at Sydney's character, and so my story is, right, you'd want to be specific about it, but you're like, I the committed a crime with my boyfriend, and now I'm being punished. Right, which would be so different. And this is, your story is what brings this to life, and you're staying inside of the story, that's there. Like, you're still hanging from a trapeze in a horrible trap that will kill you. But if your story is, I committed this crime, and now I've been found out, and so even though I'm being sort of punished in this like horrible criminal way, I feel like we deserve it. Like, we did this terrible crime together. That's just one option. Because you're sort of inventing something to bring it to life for yourself, right? Back to this idea of looking for what is going to be the most effective, meaning going to tell the story the most effectively, but also help you feel the most. And so the change in the script is something like, get Alex to hold on, and then Alex dies. Right, and we can put different words to that. Obviously, we could put emotive words to it. You do like, well, the mix of feelings at the beginning is, like fear, terror, desperation. The mix of feelings at the end is like grief, horror. I don't know, whatever goes with that. Shock. If you want to tell a good story, even if your script is, or your self-tape is a single line, look for change, because that's where the best story lives. If there's no change, I don't think they would include it typically. I mean, I suppose sometimes there's a character who's just showing up something functional, like, hey, delivery, there it is. But even then, you can probably, with your moment before, with your moment after, find a little bit of something for yourself, just so you get to feel like an artist and a storyteller in the middle of that. Descriptive words for yourself, and this is where you can just throw them into the chat window. If you're Sydney, then how do you describe yourself as a person? Right, it's tempting with these descriptive words, to get into how other people would describe Sydney. Thank you so much for throwing something in the chat window. I always get impatient, and start throwing ideas out, and I love it when you do this. Here we go. Follower. Yeah, great. Right, so she's always going along with things, or I'm always going along with things. Like, that's how I got into this problem in the first place, is I went along with my partner. I might also say, like, caring, right? Like something that describes my relationship with Alex, right? Like that I'm like a loving person, or a devoted person, or that this is how I think of myself if I'm Sydney, and I don't give up. Whatever words we put to that. Descriptive words for Alex. Right, and and this is who he is as a person, right? This person who, he's a risk taker. Yeah, great. Taker. Right, so he's hopeful. We might say, use something to see like how appealing or interesting he is. So like risk taker. We could also say that like he's charismatic, or exciting, or right, something that gives us a sense of like, oh right, that's who this relationship is. That's who you are risking losing in the right. So they're partners, or romantic partners. in the script. Personalization, and we're not going to write this out here, is what is it in your personal life that helps you empathize with the feelings behind the experience. Now, obviously, you've never hung by a trapeze over a death trap. That's fine. What we want is what helps you empathize with the feeling. And so let's say that we were using that like mix of feelings. So it's desperation. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Desperation, fear, exhaustion, and then by the end of the scene, we've got, shock, horror, etc. All right. So what helps me empathize with desperation, fear, and exhaustion? I can think of those things. I'm like, oh, right. Yeah. There's that time where like, I caught that horrible thing in Mexico and was just like, couldn't move out of my bed, for a week, exhaustion, right? What does my body feel like? Desperation. Oh, right. It's the, like when I realized that I was going to be late for my audition and the like sort of cold sweat of panic. Like it doesn't have to be a big thing. It just has to be something that gives you like a big spike of that feeling to go, oh yeah, it's that. So that I can remember, oh yeah, I've felt these things. Maybe not to this degree, maybe not all at the same time, but I have all the colors that I need to tell this story. Now, what do I want in the scene? Obviously, I want Alex to hold on. Hold on, and then turning that into an objective phrase. And this is a tool that I haven't come back to in these lessons for a while, but that idea of it can be as simple as just hold on, but only if when I say that, it feels something. I feel something. So it's not about this is where the story meets you as a person. So it's not just about what tells the story. And it doesn't even have to be quite right for the story if it invokes the objective for me. Right? So it could be please don't die. It could be you could be more assertive with it. You could be don't you dare leave me. Or thoughts? This is where I love to get a variety of ideas here. Right, this you could use I love you. Yeah, let's figure it out, or let's figure it out. Right? It's about what fires you up emotionally. Even though this scene is all desperation and fear and terror, like I love you, could work. Let's figure this out. Like, come on, like we'll fix this. We're gonna make this work. So that you've got something to fight for. That the exhaustion, the terror is actually what in script analysis we would call obstacle. Right? It's the thing that gets in the way of you getting what you want. Right? So what you want is, I want my partner to be safe here. What gets in the way, is the rest of it. So just as an example of, Sandy, are you okay continuing to be an example for me, just so that I can do a quick demo? Okay. So I've just put in the chat window some of those examples of possible objective phrases. And I'll show you the way that I typically use these objective phrases in classes or in coachings, which I also do, by the way. And then let's look at this and let's pick one of these lines, but let's just pick the first one. It's real easy. You have to hold on, Alex. Okay, so we've got just this first line. You have to hold on, Alex, is your one line. But if we start with, pick one of these objective phrases. So why don't we start with with your idea and start with let's figure it out.
Okay.
Right, and so pick one of these folks to be your eye line, and just say let's figure it out.
Do you want me to say let's figure it out using
that
line? Or just...
Exactly. No, I want you to say let's figure it out, and we'll walk.
Okay.
And we're going to walk you into the feeling using that objective phrase, and then when you're like, oh yeah, like that, then I'm going to say now say the line. You have to hold on, Alex, but say it like that. Does that make sense?
Yep. Let's figure this out.
Good. And then if that's a one, like take a deep breath. Know how big you can get with this, and give me a two.
Let's figure this out.
Great. That was like, at least that was a 3. Like take a deep breath, give me a 5.
Let's figure this out.
Great. And this time, give me that 5, but use all of the breath to speak. Don't any of it beforehand. Give me a 5.
Let's figure this out.
Good. Yeah. And just keep bringing that desperation into it and give me a 7. Take a deep breath.
Let's figure this out.
Really nice. Take a deep breath. Give me an 8.
Let's figure this out.
Good. And then give me a 9. Just go as big as you can. Go, go, go.
Let's figure this out.
And then the line is, you have to hold on, Alex, and just say it like you said that.
You have to hold on, Alex.
And see how beautiful that was? Right? Like, and when you first heard her do the one version of it, you were like, I don't know if it's going to work. But it really works. Like, she chose something that was emotionally affective for her. And then go by going all the way into that and then taking that into the line, you find the desperation. Now
I just got a text from Viola asking me if I'm dying and if she should call 911.
Beautiful. Sandy, thank you for doing the demo. I feel like that really lands it. Okay, that's so close to 4:30. That's what I had intended to cover, and then I would love to use the last few minutes if you have questions, even if they're sort of not specifically related to this. Understanding story and sort of how to prep an audition is so complex that there's no way I could cover all of it, with my 10 questions, or in 25 minutes. So if there's anything that I didn't cover that you'd like me to talk about, this is your time. Throw it at me. What do you want me to talk about for these last few minutes, or what questions do you have about horror movies, or how to prepare an audition script, or any of the technical things?
I don't know if this relates to what you were teaching today, but when I look at a breakdown and it says episodic,
Yep.
is that the same as series?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're used interchangeably. And probably to somebody on the production end, there's a real reason to use one over the other, but I've never had it explained to me in a way that stuck.
Okay.
As an actor, you just know that means that there's going to be a bunch of them. And hopefully that means that you'll be able to go and watch an episode on Netflix, or you'll be able to go and at least see the trailers of the existing episodes on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I didn't have a breakdown for this, but a breakdown is a short description of the character, right? So if you were auditioning for Sydney, the casting director would have sent the talent agents the script and the descriptions of the characters. The talent agents would say like, hey, you should really see Sandy because she's awesome for this. If the casting director chose to see Sandy, then they would inform the agent. They'd be like, right, so the food chain is producers are in charge of the money, so they're at the very top. They make decisions about who gets cast. The director is in charge of the story. They influence who gets cast, but usually don't decide. The casting director runs the auditions and decides who gets auditions. The talent agent just sells actors, and helps actors get auditions. Basically says like, do you want to see my actors, please? And then the actors are all responsible for themselves, right? So the breakdown is the description of the character goes out just to the talent agents. Talent agents say, hey, do you want to see my actors? If the casting director chooses Sandy for an audition, then Sandy will receive the script, from her agent. But in that process, she will also receive the breakdown. She'll also receive, here's who the director and the producer and the casting director have all decided that Sydney is. And so she'll usually have a bunch of information there to go off of. I really like to read breakdowns because I feel like they give me information about the story and then I don't have to make it up. But I think that there's a really important caveat with breakdowns, or something to think about in addition to like reading them detailed for information, which is that for every role, especially something that's only one page like this, that casting director might get 600 submissions, and there are thousands of other actors they could also choose from. And they're going to see, in a world of self-tapes, they're going to see maybe 50 tapes. So that means that they're saying no to a lot of people in order to see you. So no matter what it says in the breakdown, they want to see you, right? They want to see you bring yourself to it. And I've just seen so many actors talk themselves out of roles and talk themselves out of a performance or a story that would be personally meaningful or satisfying by saying, well, it says in the breakdown that my character is blonde. That Sandy could easily say that. We're like, it says blonde. It says she's like super Aryan. I'm not super Aryan. There's no chance of this. And it's like, well, they had lots of Aryan ladies they could choose from. If they're seeing Sandy for it, it means that maybe the writer thought of Sydney as Aryan, and then these people were like, hello, it's 2020. You're like, that's not what we're doing.
Yeah, that happened recently to Viola. So they were
Great.
looking for a red-headed, freckled-faced girl, and they couldn't find her. And Viola booked it. So
Amazing. Thank you. Sandy is not here just to give me confirming evidence, but it's fantastic that she is. Great. Any other questions before we wrap for today? Okay. There's a lot packed into half an hour. 2 more lessons this week, Wednesday and Thursday. And like I said, please do email me with the things that you are hungry to hear more about so that I can build some detailed lessons and bring those back in January. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah, bye, Ken.
Have an early Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much. Okay, bye, everyone.